welcome back, Beowulf Nation. I'm Beowulf back with another video. Whew. This is a Kawasaki SXR 1500 install video of the Jettrim tray. I'm looking at it. I've done, oh, it's hard to tell, it's all covered up, but I've done a couple Jettrim seat covers, Sea-Doo RXP-X, and then my Yamaha GP 1800R. Sorry, I got a bunch of stuff covering up. So this is probably going to be one of the most challenging things I think to do. Maybe it'll be real easy, maybe it'll be really hard. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Existing subscribers, hit the bell notification, be notified as soon as a video is uploaded. Is all going on. If you haven't seen my past video, I did a couple videos. I showed unboxing, showing what all the pieces are. This is not all the pieces out. I did a whole video showing how you take out the existing stock tray. So kind of in the beginning of this, I've watched some videos that Jettrim made a video. I think it's a good video, seeing stuff. The hard thing is there's a lot of angles missing. My goal with this video is, obviously I'd watch their video too and watch mine before you start getting into this process. But I'm showing you guys as a person who's never done this before. I don't do it for a living. I've actually never done one of these trays. I think this wasn't that hard to take off than what I was thinking. So what I have, in their video they showed this thing to trace with. I went everywhere now with the coronavirus going on. You're limited to where you could be going to stores figuring out stuff. So I got a crayon, white crayon. It'll leave a mark. It should work. And it should come right off. Alright, well, the crayon works. That's what I got. Now, you want to mark this, but I'll show you what kind of start video, and I'll get through the video what you all need. They showed red sandpaper. I couldn't find that when I went to the store because everything's missing. So I found going to Lowe's. I got this grade, I got this, and I got this. You're not supposed to, you're just supposed to get enough scuff of this so it has grip when you do the adhesive. I'm also going to try this as doing the foam brush and doing, I bought a spray gun at, let's see where it's at. Bought this at Harbor Freight. So I don't know if this will work. There's a certain adhesive that I think I have somewhere else. It's not out here, but I'll show it all once we get to all these steps. So definitely if you're watching this video, I'd watch all this before you start working on it so you figure all the stuff you need. The most challenging thing is, from when I watched the video, you're supposed to center out the hump or the front part of their seat. Now, what they don't show you is the angles when they film their video is it's not lining up. See, you can stick your finger behind there. You have to sand this down. Well, if you mess up, you're gonna be looking at it for a while. That's the one thing I have to say when I watched the video. I thought there was more to be seen, but once you actually start doing it, you're like, okay, it's supposed to probably fold in like this, is how the stitching is made into it. So I think when you trace it, is you want to hold your hands like this. It's going to be a very hard video to be filming, but I'm going to try to show you guys as much. But before you start tracing, I'd line it up where it looks as center as it possibly can. The hard thing, you look at there, it's a little over there, not over there. So it's just playing with it. I'd eyeball it. I mean, nothing's going to be dead on perfect, especially if you're doing it yourself. So I kind of get it lined up where you think it looks as center, like almost there, it looks a lot center. And then push in, trace around that, holding that in, and with one hand try to do this whole thing tracing it. Now once you trace out this part, you want to try to hold, it's going to be real complicated, but then you want to hold this, and then you got to fold this over, which is easier said than done because it pushes out, so you have to be real careful, and then it's going to go around. Well, the biggest thing is when you're sanding it, you don't want to go over where it's not going to be, and then you're going to just see your paint's all gone. If you don't do it correctly over it, it's probably not going to stick and it's going to peel off. So that's kind of the hard thing. There's a different type of glue you'll do once you're doing this whole area there. I got this camping fuel that's used to take the adhesive off. I'll show it all step by step. It's just a lot. And I'm actually, to be honest, I wasn't going to film this video because I'm kind of thinking this is a lot to take in. And if you mess up, you're going to be looking at it for a long time. So, but I'm always into trying things and doing it stuff myself as much as I possibly can. I think the tray looks pretty cool. There's a whole nother piece. There's a pad that goes on underneath. And then it's the top mat. But part of this video is just getting this all figured out, and then I have to sand this down. You're going to get it sanded, like I said, where it's just rough. And I want to reuse this piece when I do the seat. And the reason why I want to reuse this piece is this is the strap I use to tie the thing down that goes down in there. I really like this thing. It's really nice with holding this thing down really tight and the ski doesn't go anywhere. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can make this all work and figuring out making the hole. So this is just, their video doesn't show how to do this. They show to drill and have a hook underneath. I didn't want to do that route because I found this awesome strap that can do it. And actually, people probably wonder where I got it from. And I got it from watercraftworks.com. Not a paid advertisement. I did my research and found this, and this is a lifesaver so this thing doesn't go flying off the trailer. So, there's a lot to take in. And it's going to probably take me at least a day or two working it. It's later, so my goal is to get like a part of this done and then prepping it. And also too, there's something similar like this piece that I'm going to be installing on my GP 1800R. There'll be in a future video. As you can see, I've already removed the graphics because it's supposed to go in place here. I still have to get all this. It's crazy, the hotter side of the ski, this was harder to take off than the other side. And if you look, there's some pieces missing on the ski. And it means something's getting, some new hydro dip is coming in for the ski. A future video for this. So hopefully we get this thing all going and I get like some custom stuff there. But anyways, video is all about this Kawasaki SXR. Alright, so I traced this out. Now, I got that pretty good in there. And then what I did is I actually sat in there pushing my legs at this to kind of hold it in place. And you can kind of tell with it, you can see it's pretty dead on each side how it's going to be. So you want to sand inwards part of that, not outwards. I want inside the mat, not outside. So for sure it will not be going over where it should be. So a little lower I have to go right there. So the next step is sanding. No turning back now. You just want to get it like this so there'll be some grip with the glue. The shocking thing is when they come stock, you're shocked that they don't do that with the stock tray. Now the reason why I got oddly shaped ones is I figured it'd be harder to get into these areas. All right, so now I'm gonna put down the camera so I can get into these fine areas and not mess up. All right, so it's all sanded out. Oh, man, I hope I didn't mess up, but you look at it, it looks pretty dead on of how this thing's gonna look once it's installed, but this is it. Is that as hard as I was thinking? But yet I have not put on the pad. Now what I'm gonna do is get a wet, pick a couple rags, and then get all this dust off instead of just, in the video say get a shop, like a air compressor to blow air. To me, I don't want all this dust getting all around in here. I'd rather it's all in one place. So get a wet towel, wipe it all down, and then get it cleaned up. All right, so I got it pretty much almost all the dust up. I used a couple wet rags, then used some dry ones, wiped it up. I'm gonna do air on this when I start on it. This is all gonna be one shot video, but it's the end of what I'm doing tonight, and then I'm gonna let it like sit, and you can tell it's a lot rougher, different in color than the other side. And I'm pretty good at where I want it to be. I mean, I think it's pretty rough how it's supposed to be in there. I might do a couple areas before I start the video, just double checking. Like I think right here, I want to do a little bit more, but also too, I want to see how this the water dries, because when I put some water on it, it changed. Like right there, it's still wet. So I'm gonna check how it looks on the morning before I start, but this is how far I got tonight. All right, so I hooked up my air hose right over there, spray compressed air, got all the kind of remaining of the dust that would be on this. So the next step would be doing the front part of it. Like I think I told people I bought, I don't know if this one will work, but I bought this at Harbor Freight. And it's a spray gun, and it's yeah, it wasn't the cheapest one they sold, and it was like kind of like a couple up from being the cheapest. So I have no clue if this will work. Also too, I have the camp fuel right here. And what you use the camp fuel with is any of this excess. This is the adhesive stuff you would use. Weldwood contact cement, the original one. I don't know if this is, I didn't want to buy something that was like super huge. And then I found these actually on my Amazon store. And I got two of these small ones. So I have no clue how much I gotta use. And I still have to do a project that's on jetski with it. So, also too, I have that I picked up because they recommend. I got a whole bunch of different stuff. See, well, I actually did get this type of sandpaper. I was trying to find where I had all this other stuff. So I'm, I'll always keep this maybe as another project or do it on that ski. And I got a bunch of these different foam brushes. So. And then you would use like this, I think I got a couple different, I think I got them for a couple different projects. So you got the clear, or you got this one. I think this one will work. And that's how you'll be doing that outer trim piece adhesive on. All right, so I'm not sure how much I have to put on. So I might put a little in the spray gun and try it out and see if the spray gun even works instead of putting a lot in. This dries within 15 to 20 minutes. The big thing is when you put it on the back here, from watching their video, is you want it to be not like where it's wet, but where you feel it. I have no clue until I put it down, but that's how you have to be putting it on the back of this and on the surface that I sanded. So it's pretty much outlined where I want to set this thing down. I have no clue if once you set it down, if you can pull it back up and replace it, it could be the same as like putting on a vinyl graphic. I mean, I don't know because I've not done it yet. So they have like a tool to kind of push into the other areas. So this is what I have. Or I got this that pretty much work. The other thing I have to get in my other garage too is a rubber mallet. So once you get in place, you tap it. So I'm just kind of getting, it's like whatever I'm doing, I'm going to start going at it. So, yeah, it's all prepped, so let's get it going. It's literally impossible to film this and do it by myself, and this is stressful to do. But I got the first piece on. So, it had a little go at first, where you could kind of fix it. And then I used that tool, like I said, to push right up into here. Once I had it centered, I used that tool, this thing right here, and the videos doesn't show up, but I was pushing it way up in there to make sure it was getting seated up in there as tight as it can go. And then I used the rubber mallet, and as you can tell, it looks like it fit in exactly where I sanded, which I'm pretty shocked. So I was getting a little worried. I think I did sand a little over there, but it's not the end of the world. But I got the front part on. Now let's do a side. This, I did it with the foam brush because it was so tiny, and I didn't know how easy it would be. That I'd have to say was starting point is to try what the brush is like. You had to get in there behind in these areas to make sure there was enough adhesive in there, but not to where it was wet. It was real easy applying it on here. But let's see how it works on the paint gun on the next spot. But let's keep it going. I got that side on. I wiped it with the camp gas. Gonna probably get a little bit better right in here. Just gonna hit that. So you just hit that. See all this, we're gonna do the super glue around. So just making sure. I've already malleted everything, but I'm just hitting it again. But I wiped it with the camp gas around where the parts were. So later on, I'm going to take that. I should wait for a little bit right in here. You want to definitely take your time. Now, the one thing I have to say, I tried doing spray gun, just not feeling it. It was putting too much glue down. It's not that hard to kind of just quickly, doesn't take a lot of this adhesive to be put onto the actual hull. It's a little bit more into here, and it was actually making it harder using the spray gun. So I definitely, the foam brush technique I think is good. It's going to be a little harder in this spot because how big it is. So I wouldn't rule out the spray gun, but I'm not feeling it for doing these sides. It's too detailed, especially in these stitching. That's the thing is when you watch some of these videos, if somebody does this for a living, it might be real easy for them to show how they do it because they do it day in and day out. If you're somebody who's new, like me, I found this the easiest way. So now let's do the next side and then get all this done, and we're almost done with this. All right, next side on. Wiped it down with the camp gas again. Mallet it on. Whew, man, it's not as hard as I was thinking it was going to be, but it's good thing is I did not sand over the line, so I did really good at doing it. I'm impressed. Now the next step is to put this next mat on. So this is I'm putting the foam mat on, which is here. So I want to first, before I want to make sure it all fits before this one I think is going to be the most complicated. So I think you do it like this, and then you're going to hammer it hammer it down. Now the biggest thing is I have to remember is where this hole is, puncture the hole through before I do the other pieces. But man, it just doesn't look. I know you're supposed to put this down the farthest, so we'll see how this all turns out, and then we do the next mat over. So the things we'll have to remember is there'll be some of this we'll be cutting, and then remember where the hole is, probably the most important thing right away. And then we're going to be doing, I have these front hump. I think we'll measure that out once we get to that step. And then we got these ergos. And I think when you put those on, see, I'm wondering. Yeah. So that should be going like that. I might actually do this in the morning. I got a fair amount done already, and I am getting tired, and I don't want to be like half as. The biggest thing is I want to do this and being drained out. So what I'm probably going to do is stop here. The video will be continuously going, but I want to take a break. All right, so I applied it here. I definitely find the foam brush the best way to go. If you're using a spray gun, it would be a mess. I have to say though, this was a little time consuming doing this. Is the mat that I'm laying down. So this is looking a little bit dry. I did this first and then did this, which you can tell it's still a little wet before sticking it on. And then the big thing is when I lay the mat in, I want to not try to drop it all at once. I'm trying to get in there, and then you got to push it through here because the mat's going to be a tad a little bit bigger. And as soon as I get it down, I got a rag right here with that camp gas on it that I want to quickly wipe around any of these areas because I got into the edges right there. And also too, I want to make sure I puncture a hole for that from underneath and wipe the camp gas in here so this doesn't, it's a certain size. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to do it once I do the big part of the mat on, but definitely I want this hole here. So, but I want to make sure the hole's open before I do that, and then I'll have to cut out immediately too before it dries for the front hump, and then it ergos there in the bag. I lay down, what I did is, because you can tell it's a little bit bigger, see I pushed down into this as far as I could get down. And then what I'm going to do, see like down in there I push down, let's get the mallet, get a little whack around. What I'm going to do is, got a razor blade, I'm going to cut it right here on the edge. This is as good as cut as I could get. That my razor blade just doesn't work as good, but I did cut the hole out. Now I got to trace the front hump and then cut that out and pull it back. Put the front hump there, traced it, now I got to cut it out. And that's where you're going to use the razor blade. It's not as easy to get off, but I also too, before I work more in that, I trace this and I'm going to cut these out to lay these down. You don't want to wait too long, and looks pretty lined up of how it's going to be. Though my garage is like a mess with everything. I'll have to do a real good cleaning. So I cut these out. It was a pain to get this material off, so I used a couple different scrapers that I bought that I thought I originally needed to take off the stock mat, and then I used some of the camp gas to really clean this up. I'll tell you, when I watch Jettrim's video, they make it like real easy to peel it off. It's not as easy as you might think. Everything fit in place. Then I used compressed air to make sure almost all the like little odds and ends out. Now I'm going to start the gluing process. I'm probably going to first put the adhesive down on for these, and then do all 3 of these at once. So I suggest, you know, like I said in the video, watch the video before you do this. Don't do it step by step. But definitely, I got it in place. Now I can knock all these out. Once I get these into place, then I could be knocking out the main part of the tray, coming down, and then done. All right, so I got them in place. I did glue a little bit on this side, not all the way down, because I knew they'd be sticking out. It's pretty lined up, pretty even. Just push everything in, let it sit, and you want to make sure that it's pointing straight up like this on each side. If you have them on the wrong side, it will be pointing inwards. In Jettrim's video, they said to sand these down. I don't think I'm going to do that because whatever tool they showed in their video, I don't own it. I did the front hump, cut it all in, so we're almost in the last part of sticking. Is now the main pad going into here. Now let's see if everything lines up, but it's looking cool. It's definitely a big transformation, and you definitely need 2 cans of this. I won't use the whole thing, but I use it for this project, but 1 little can is not enough. Unless maybe 1 can will work. I just felt like I wasted a lot when I used the spray gun, and I didn't use the spray gun on any of these parts here. Just a little here, but I didn't feel that it was worth it. I think the foam brush, and definitely get where you got a multiple ones, because I doing a couple days into this, I've had to use a whole nother set because they dry up. All right, so I made the hole for this. I cut a little bit more than needed, but at least it's on there, and I tightened that down. That was hard. I used this tool right here. I popped the little holes to where I got to stick the rivets through. And then what I'm going to do right now is hook the bolts back onto here to tighten this down before I do the rivets. Make it easier, because then I'm going to do the plate, and then I'm going to do the glue around it. If I set this thing in place, I mean, it looks nice. Definitely worth the money with doing this. I actually did jump on it to see how it felt, and it's like, I can't wait to go out here with it. I also got 2 other mods to be added on in future video with this, but definitely, woo! It's not easy, I'll tell you that. It's time consuming. Doing the seats and sit downs are way easier than this. This is very time consuming. All right, so I got the rivets on right there. Get a little better light. Yeah, so got the rivets on. This is kind of what it's looking like. Definitely really, really sharp. All right, so when I installed the bottom mat, I did use the spray gun again with this, because this was such a big, long piece. It would take forever, and it'd probably be dry by the time I'd be done with it. So I did do the spray gun on this, and did the spray gun on the lower mat, doing it. The only thing that I kind of think I screwed up on, I had Gorilla Glue that was junk, and then for touching up stuff, I did the Loctite Super Glue, which I should have used that one. I don't know why I was using the Gorilla Glue. It was a small bottle. What happened is it was like not really coming out, so I was pushing a little harder, and then literally too much came out into there. It's hard to tell. You really can't notice, but my hands were like covered with it, and it took forever to get it off. It took basically a whole other day, and I don't know if you can even see, there's still some on my hands from that. So I'm hoping over time, like how I got off my hands, that's what it's going to be like. So I tried doing some of the camp gas on it. Really doesn't take it off. It's not like the adhesive you use on this. So I use a bottle of glue gun. It seems the best to really kind of soaking in to get, because this would be like turning white how bad it got on there. So I'm hoping the more I use it, it'll come off. It's not the end of the world. But because it's black ski, you can really see it. Otherwise, I think it all turned out really good. I did the rivets back in there. I did this piece, and what happened is I cut it a little bit too much, so I stuck the excess material that I did cut too much right in there. Maybe over time I might do some type of adhesive, but it's really not that noticeable. And it's nice where I can still have my tie down strap right in here. And it looks pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of hard to get that. Otherwise, if you look close, I mean, this thing turned out really nice all around. So definitely, if you're looking at one doing these with a stand-up, I mean, it's not hard. It's not easy. I was kind of really intimidated with doing this because I thought, oh man, this took me a couple longer than you would think the video is with doing it. And the hard thing with filming this is this was very tight spot, and if you screw up, it's you can't just pull it right out. But these ergos turn out really nice. You do see the foam still on the side, but it's not that bad. And then what I did too is did some of that super glue into there to make sure it got really tight in the certain spots. I might do some more stuff with it, maybe pushing more inwards, seeing how it works the next time riding it. But otherwise, it's pretty much all good. I did the super glue up in there. I did the super glue last night, and then I was just like, there was so much in my hand. You can actually see right there, my finger was like stuck to the mat, and I had to yank, and it was just like, oh man, it was, yeah, that super glue, be real careful with that stuff. That stuff is, that adhesive stuff, you got in your hands, you put a little camp gas on, it just wipes right off. That super glue, whew, super glue for a reason. So otherwise, it turned out really cool. I'm really happy with it. It'll for sure have, put it on yesterday. So this was like, took 3 days of filming, not straight days. It was just kind of, it was nice. It wasn't too hot out, pretty normal temperature. So I wasn't like sweating or anything when I was doing this. But it turned out really nice. And it'll for sure, you know, it's dried onto there. And tomorrow it's supposed to be like almost 80 degrees. So I'm going to take the stand-up out tomorrow and see how this works. But before that, I'm doing 2 new install videos with this before going out. I also reinstalled the bolts right back in there. It was hard to get these one on the back of the bolt. I really couldn't get them on. I don't know if it's really mandatory, but I'll probably mess with them another day. But I'm excited to see how this thing will work, because the material is real grippy. And then your feet will more have support. So definitely I feel like coming out again, riding this, basically I have a good spot for my foot to go in here and flipping left to right side. But I'm definitely excited. And the green turned out, it's pretty close. It's not accurate. I'll tell you, any of these people who think you're doing a seat or this and it's gonna be identical to whatever your ski colors are, it's not possible to do that. I mean, it's green. I want green. I didn't want to do anything light on this because knowing that you're kind of like all in this, your whole body's rolling around on this. The lightest color on it is the green stitching. I really hope this stuff holds up because it will be a big pain in the butt to take this off. But I think once you get it on, I mean, it's pretty much on. The biggest things to be looking out for is just these areas around here. If they start coming loose, get a little super glue on it, push it down, especially too, when I was doing this end with the super glue, I put a little super glue in there and I pushed down with this and it got it right in place. And don't be intimidated with it because it was like, you know, it pretty much lined up exactly where this hump is where it is on the stand-up. And this part was real complicated because it was trying to fit this in there, and the biggest thing was like getting this going. But you can see is like it fit tight in there, and it's a little overlap there. It's just the size of what the tray is. I mean, I guess it gives you a little wiggle room, but this is it. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Definitely, if you're in a stand-up, old one, new one, you want to do a tray, Jettrim's the people to call to for this. Be driven to win. Remember, every day is Earth Day. Never give up, never surrender. That's the motto for 2020 with this whole coronavirus thing going on. Also, too, I have a merch store. It's IamBeowulf.com. Check it out. I also have an Amazon store. That's Amazon.com/shop/IamBeowulf. Check it out. It's the end of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Beowulf Nation.